This is going to be fun. Steve Valiquette, John Giannone with you as we talk about what is to come. But first, put a postscript on what happened in Game 5. Quite the night of emotion on Garden Ice, right? Stevie down 2-0 late in the second period. Sidney Crosby goes off the ice with an apparent injury, doesn't come back, and the Rangers go to work. And as Henrik Lundqvist said on our air on MSG, you can tell the difference in both sides when that happened.
Yes, and yes. I think that the biggest impact of the game was at 2-0. I think there was almost a what is going to happen next moment for the Rangers, and they needed something big to happen. And with Sidney Crosby being removed from the game, as much as Pittsburgh at that time was imposing their game on the Rangers and the Rangers were receiving it, this was just the moment of belief, I think, that really ignited the group. And they realized, I mean, if it doesn't go well last night, John, how do you reconcile the season? And how does it make everybody feel on pack-up day that we have this great 100-plus point season and then we are dreadful in the playoffs? And that starts with the goalie all the way through the lineup. I think that you have to understand this team won't be together next year the way it is currently constructed, because year to year, NHL teams just can't stand the cap and withstand all of the change. So who's in, who's out? And I think that there's also a moment where the players take ownership of it and say, look, guys, we've got to do something here, or, we're not going to get another shot at this. And this is an opportunity of a lifetime with now Sidney out, Dumoulin out. You're on the third string goaltender. The Rangers had to make it happen, John, and time was ticking on their season, and it was nice to see that they answered the urgency.
A couple of entities who answered the urgency. Let's start with Ryan Lindgren, because I think there was an inspirational element to it as well, right from the first minute of the game, where he had to come out and help kill a 5-on-3 2-minute PK, and he blocks 2 shots right off the bat when we weren't even sure if we were going to see him for the rest of the series. Speak to the impact you think Ryan Lindgren had in Game 5 and can have on and off the ice in Game 6.
Well, it's amazing how it starts so early in his own zone, and that's just defending and having a willingness to be in the shooting lane, and I mean the right way. And the last time we met, we were talking about this on this medium, about how do you get in a shooting lane, how do you stay in the shooting lane, and how do you attack the shooter, stick first, stick on puck, and then follow through the lane forward with your toe caps pointing at the shooter, so you're not really getting that ricochet that was so problematic in Game 4. The Rangers corrected that right away with Lindgren's block, and it's early moments of the game in the 5-on-3, which was shocking. I can't remember or recall ever seeing a 5-on-3 to start a playoff game in the first period. Now, what you see from a positional standpoint after the Rangers recover the puck in their own zone is that Fox gets to be himself. And Lindgren's a safety valve, and he's a hinge. And in coach speak, a hinge is a guy that just sets back a little bit so that the offensive-minded defenseman can take the puck first up the ice. So if you quote-unquote call Fox the transporter to get the puck from D zone through neutral zone and into the offensive zone, you have to understand that it's a lot of work for Lindgren to do, because he has to stay back. He has to stay back, but then he has to hustle up and get to the offensive blue line so that when offense is pressing, and I feel like the Rangers had some really well-sustained offensive zone time before they scored their goals last night, but that's also because they're getting out of the zone the right way. The neutral zone was really tough and difficult in the first half of the game, I felt like, maybe until Sidney left the game, where the Rangers were forcing it up the strong side. They started getting it to the other side of the ice, and then the weak side was wide open. They were getting in the zone, and then you see Lindgren like pedaling up to get there and help the guys stay in the zone longer. I felt like his impact on the game, it doesn't always make the stat sheet. The players, one of the oldest and truest sayings in hockey is you can't fool the boys, and they know in that locker room how much he means to them. And when you talk about team culture and you're trying to identify who the sheep herders are, he's certainly one of them.